And how does their input affect that? I mean, you guys are all very different people, and you don't agree on very many things, especially music, but you play together, and it's what comes out is pretty consistent. And you're the songwriter, you're the principal songwriter, but you feel that they're...
Well, truth is like, I don't know, being knocked in the head as you walk home for no reason. I mean, that's truth. And what we do is just this pop performance. And you get up on stage and there's like 1,000 moments happening, and and a good like 999 of those moments there's nothing happening. And that's a lie. Or I'm really drunk, and that's a lie too. Or like I'm really pissed off at the crowd, and that's a lie too. I don't even know. If I was Satan, then I'd be telling the truth. But I'm not. I'm nobody. If I was Jesus, I'd be embarrassed as hell.
Why?
Because just being Jesus would be horrifying. It'd be ridiculous.
We're going?
Shut up, Dan.
Yeah.
I just know because people were talking in the background.
Just about your
got a red
pants.
light in here for Tally.
Tally.
I didn't see that before.
Maybe the beer will be here before we...
Jesus Christ, what the hell is going on here?
That's nothing. What are you clicking? This,
Maybe we'll...
this thing.
I just hope the beer will be here.
Yeah.
It's hard being an alcoholic.
It's Miller
White
time.
balance, just to be sure.
It takes endurance.
It takes endurance.
That smelled great.
We going?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, your albums?
Okay, well, thanks.
Yeah, sure.
My album?
Are we going now?
I think we are.
Yeah.
Okay. Your album's called California, and I know at least you said that it was sort of picked out of a hat as a title, but it's inevitable that people are going to look at that and see some kind of concept or look for a concept. And I just wanted to ask you what your feelings were about California. How do you think, looking back now, how the album reflects your attitudes about California? Maybe as someone who's you came from Ohio to California.
Right. Well, I was also born in California too, a long time ago. But I mean, probably California. Well,
how do you think California, living in California, affects the way you approach your music? Do you think
Well, I think that it's... Well, when I first moved here, remember this quote, when I first moved here from Ohio, I could have moved either here or Ohio, or I could have moved to New York, there, right, remember?
Start again.
I could have, yeah, when I first decided I was going to move away from Ohio, which of course I had to decide, I was going to move to New York or here. It was either way, because you can't, in Ohio, you just can't stay there, you have to go east or west. So what happened was, I thought, okay, if I go to New York, I'm going to end up handcuffed on a bed, being burned to death, people standing around laughing, I mean, that was my New York experience, and I knew that was what would have to happen. And also I decided if I went to New York, I'd end up getting this real Eastern influence, because I pretty much pick up my influences wherever I am. That's...
So you were seeking a Western influence?
No, I was seeking an opposite influence of some kind, something that I'd never experienced. Something where I could actually do something new. And of course I haven't done anything new, but that's beside the point. That's why I moved here. The album title, apart from Bon Jovi's also calling their title New Jersey, naming it after a state, it's just, I don't know, it basically comes from a song called Highway 5, where I sing about California, but it's not really about California as such. It's just, I just use the word California in it.
Well, you could have called the album The, because you used that in a song too.
I could have called the album I'm in You. I mean, there was lots of good titles going on. but California, hell, I live here. For whatever reason, I live here, and I think that everything I do, from the song Western Sky to everything, is because I live here. You know, I live downtown San Francisco. I sing about that. I sing about the coastline. I think it's one of the most beautiful places in the world. You know, I don't want them to build oil refineries off the coast. You know, all that kind of dumb shit. But if the song is about if the album is about California at all, it's only because we live here and we rule here. You know, that kind of dumb crap. But you know, it's also it's a strange place to live. It's a place where most people come to live because they're trying to, especially San Francisco, because they're just trying to form their characters, you know, and then they move away. But I don't think I ever formed my character, you know.
You said that California, there was an element in the environment, or there was an evil influence. when we
No,
talked
well,
before.
you see, I got this problem with the weather because I'm used to growing up in places in the world where there's weather, where there's spring, summer, fall, winter, and here there's just kind of, it kind of sprinkles. It kind of gets a little wet in the winter, and in the summer it's just kind of blue sky, and the wind is cold, and I think, and it's always like, I don't know, there's a blue sky here, and it's always like this, and that's fucking strange, you know?
Your words were, it frees you. The
Well,
lack of seasons.
It frees you from having to have any kind of normal impulses. It frees you from having to think about things. It frees you, and it also it allows you to hang yourself on your own rope, and mostly that's what it does. I mean, that's what it does to me mostly. And this city especially is such a beautiful town, but you have no ground to walk on, and you basically you're always completely frozen here for some reason. And the eternally blue sky is totally evil, because it never tells you that you're human. It always suspends you, and you're always in suspension here. And that's, it doesn't really free you. Nothing frees you, but that is why, you know, it always follows that if it's evil, and that if it's arcane, and that if it goes beyond all the words you can possibly use, then of course it follows that you're free. But of course,
Why, of course, does it follow that you're
because
free?
because I'm talking about real people talking real words. But if you're talking about the real thing, it's just going to kill you. And maybe that's why I stay here. The combination of a limitless ocean, which is really a boring thing, and a completely empty sky, it's just a very frightening thing. And all the people here are completely like that too. It shows right through them for some reason. I don't know what it is. It's hard to, you know.
So do you still feel like sort of an outsider here?
No, I don't at all. In fact, I feel like totally. I live here. I mean, this is my home now. No, I don't feel like an outsider at all. Not in the context of living in San Francisco or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Although, of course, naturally, I'm an outsider.
Naturally. And then there's Ohio. You were playing in Ohio for a while in the Naked Skinnies.
Yeah, I was in a band called the Cowboys, and I was in a band called the Naked Skinnies. And, 10 years ago.
And since we're talking about regional influences, how do you feel?
Ohio, Ohio, see, I grew up in England, you know, and I was an little English brat for a long time. When I went, and so I've always been, and I was an American Army person, but I was an American Army brat, but the only Americans I knew were my mom and dad. My sister was away at school, and I went to an English school. So I spent the first 3 years of my 7 years there defending America until I became English, and then I spent the next 4 years hating America. And then I moved to America. And for the first 2 years, I couldn't stand it, and I was hell.